Today we're sitting down with Marques Morel. Marques Morel is a musician. He's been playing for a very long time. He started busking on street corners a long while ago. He's been rambling everywhere. I'm going to tell you about those stories. We'll share some of that information. He'll also be performing 2 songs afterward, which we will put out shortly after the interview. And that's that. Stay tuned. Don't leave. Are you going to do your thing? All right,
Keeps
Marques.
getting better.
Hey, welcome.
Thanks, man.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Glad you can make it. We've been trying to do this for a couple months, but you've been busy gigging around.
Yeah. No, this is really this is a good spot, man.
Hey, I wanted to start this off and really chat about you because doing research, you're a super interesting fella, and some of the stuff that you've done, like the busking and the rambling all around. Can you tell me kind of how this all started for you in the music and kind of weird stuff that you started doing before we get into albums and all that fun stuff?
Yeah. Well, got to, tip my hat to a guy named Andrew Jacob Holm who sort of awakened music in me. I actually am wearing his hat. I stole it from him when we were hopping a train one time. But
sweet.
Yeah, that's a whole other story. But Andrew, I met him. I was living out in the woods at this cabin, and when I first came back from rambling around and busking out west and all that stuff, and there was he had tried. Well, he did live there before me, but he got out before that winter because he was smarter than me apparently. And so I came into this cabin and found all the stuff that was there that had been his. I'd never met this guy, and then in the springtime, I'm sitting on the back porch. It's the first warm day after a, pretty arduous winter of, being cold and isolate and all that stuff. And I hear this diesel truck. I'm like, what? Nobody's been here for the whole time I lived there. You know what I mean? I'm like, what the hell? And before I had a chance to get dressed, I was just sitting back there in my boxer shorts, drinking coffee on the back porch, enjoying the first warm day of the spring. And here comes this guy around the corner, got fishing poles and big wad of chew and his overalls and this hat, this very hat, and he marched right up on the back porch, up the steps, and walked around. Boy, Andrew Jacob Holm, real nice to meet you, boy. Boy, you've been living out here all winter, oh boy, man. Oh, there's goose eggs. You want to go out to the island? There's goose eggs on the island, boy. And oh boy, and we could, boy, you ever pee in your wine, boy? I make wine too, boy. Man, if you pee, it was just
wait, what state was this in?
This is in Illinois. This is Northwest Illinois on the Rock River, and so we had this instant friendship, and I'm like, man, I think you're the guy that is on this. There's a CD that had been left at the cabin from the Hobo Convention that happens every year in Britt, Iowa. And I had a couple favorite songs on it, and one was Give My Love to Rose. So the CD is recorded by hobos around a campfire, basically. It's a field recording, I guess you'd call it. And so Give My Love to Rose, which was the first song I learned, and it turned out it was a Johnny Cash song, which I found out, a couple years later. But then the other one was Andrew Jacob Holm singing this, just a closer walk.
The guy that pees in the wine?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm like, man, are you the guy from that CD? He's like, yeah, boy, that's my CD. And I was like, man, I love your sound, what you do with your voice, and man, just. And I say, yeah, boy, I gave it up, boy. I threw the guitar in the closet. Yep, got back from that. Threw the guitar in the closet, boy, and never touched it again, boy. Just stupid music and blah, blah, blah. And man, really? You got a gift, man. And so and I had a guitar. I'm like, could you, show me some chords? I didn't know anything, and he just started playing and singing on the porch, and it hit a part of me that I was like, whatever that sound is, I feel that in me too. And it just kind of gave me permission to start letting it out and finding it. And so he was kind of my first awakening and, singing and folk music and songwriting and stuff like that.
So what age would that have been for you?
I think I was 26. Maybe.
Okay. So you got the sound, he inspired you for the sound that you have today.
Yeah, a huge part of it for sure.
That's great. Yeah. That is something that I noticed. And when I go through the different records, you had that first one live at Rockford. Mm-hmm. And then as you go on, I hear the sound and it's developing into different sounds kind of within that genre, which is cool. Because it's like the first one is a little bit more, let's say, acoustic, kind of like a field mic recording. It's a recording of a show, I take it.
Yeah.
And then after that, it's like, all right, studio work. It sounds good, sounds really good. And then your vocals later on in the later albums, I notice your vocals are more on top. Mm-hmm. And then you incorporate some of the stuff here, like your kick and your harmonicas. So super cool. So you did that at 26.
Yep.
And then what happened after that?
Well, I was still kind of going back and forth between, being a hermit in the woods and then going back out west and, picking up jobs, building off-grid cabins and working in national forest in New Mexico. And that's when I got into, you asked about the busking. That's kind of, we had this crew that would, we'd live in the woods all week together on a job site and we'd camp out and cook all our meals together. Everybody'd be sick of each other pretty much by the end of the week.
Yep.
And we'd all disperse for the weekend. And my thing to do is I'd go to Santa Fe usually because that was the closest like kind of big town. And I'd busk in the street. And that was how I first got over stage fright or the fear of singing in front of people because I was just a total stranger, nobody, like sitting in front of a jewelry shop, just howling on the streets. And it felt so free. And so that was kind of the beginning of the journey. And then, the Woody Guthrie legacy kind of got a little bit touched by the ghost of Woody too. And that was a big part of that early inspiration as well. So
can you explain, because I don't know if everybody that would watch this knows what busking is. Can you explain that concept?
Yeah, busking is just, I think it might be a French word or something. Don't quote me on that, but it's just street performance, basically,
So you throw your guitar case open.
Yep.
You just start playing.
Yeah. In those days, I had a like real lousy soft case. So instead of my guitar case, I would take off. I used to wear cowboy boots, and I'd take off one of my boots, and that was my tip jar. So I'd play with one boot on and one boot off. And I had my dog. I was dragging this great dog around that I met on the Hopi Reservation in Arizona, and the dog's name was Hope, and he went everywhere with me, and pretty sure he was the reason I got decent tips, So I had Hope, and I had my boot and a guitar and a harmonica rack, and
so everybody, you would go out and play, you'd busk, and then that was your income.
Well, that was weekly. I was making meager income as a scrubby carpenter's helper, basically,
right.
On the job site. But yeah, I'd make some tips, maybe, some days I'd make $18 and some days I'd make $150 or something, but that was,
Yep.
It was more just about doing it. And I had no idea what I was doing or anything like that. And I'd never played a actual gig before at that point,
Well, it's an interesting concept because you can just, any area is your stage. Like literally any corner is your stage, and you can choose where you want to be, when you want to be, and when you want to play.
Yep.
And if you're not feeling it that day, you're not feeling it that day. Mm-hmm. Which is really inspiring. So you went from that, and then when did you actually evolve into? Well, I want to start recording. I want to turn this into a thing.
I came back to the Midwest, and I think it was my first winter in Savannah, Illinois. I was house sitting for a friend, and Tom Holman, who owned Bonfire Pizza, was that was kind of the heyday of Bonfire Pizza.
Yeah, I remember that place. He walked around barefoot.
Yeah, he walked around everything. But that guy was a huge inspiration, and I stopped in there for pizza one day and like just to meet him because I'd heard about it, and he's like, "You look like a musician. You play anything?" I was like, "I mean, kind of. I've got 3 strings on a banjo and maybe 4 strings on a guitar, He's like, "That's fine, I'm like, "Yeah, I know like 3 songs." He's like, "That's fine. Just play the same 3 songs over and over again. These people don't care. It'll be fine. I'll give you $20 and a pizza and beers, and you can sleep on the floor by the wood stove." And I was like, "Sweet." So that was my first gig, and then that kind of led into, I went out busking again the next summer, and I was out I think it was in Boulder, Colorado, in the streets, and met a girl that we just like had an instant connection, and she told me to hop in with her, and we went, and she wanted me to meet her family in Austin, Texas. So I was living in Austin and found a little like one of those Boss recorders that they made in the 90s.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Early digital thing, and I found that at a pawn shop, and I bought that, and I'd sit out on her back porch at her mom's house, and that's when I first started recording Searching for America, which was the first kind of album that I really did. It was just me, playing around, but that was the first attempt at recording anything.
It's a great album. That one, like I said earlier, that one's kind of like, I don't want to say this in the wrong way, but it's a raw.
Yeah,
it almost feels live in a way, but like that's what the point of this thing is to get those raw takes and the real musicianship, rather than something that's really kind of manicured. But so you did that, and then you continued on, and well, that was in like 2015, wasn't it?
Well, I didn't release that I think until 2014 maybe, but I started like messing around with that Boss recorder in I think 2010 or 11.
Yeah.
And then I moved back to here. She and I had split ways, and I was living in Mount Carroll across from Shaw's. There's that little red barn up there. I don't know if you guys know where that is. The little.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And so I was kind of squatting up in there, and I had that recorder, and that's kind of where I worked on that for, I think in like 2012 and 13, and put it out in 14. And,
yeah.
Yeah.
And then after that, I noticed it, like 2020, 2021, 2022, you had 3 more come out pretty quick.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a long time in there where I didn't record anything as myself. I was playing in different groups or whatever, but yeah, I think it was Trail of the Ghost was 2021 maybe, and that was also a self-recorded home recording or whatever.
That's a good one. I like that one. Did you always have the harmonica and the kick?
No. Well, I always had the harmonica, but not through a tube amp like this. I was just playing it into a mic, and then I got sick of the way a harmonica sounds through a vocal mic,
Mm-hmm.
Especially because like I kind of got a muddy voice or something. So if you bring up the clarity and the highs at all in my vocal, then the harmonica just sounds screechy and whatever. So, and then the first like foot percussion thing I did was just like a wooden box I built and just kicked on that thing, and I don't know.
So you did that. You recorded a few albums, and then now we're getting closer to today. You released an album, and I think the latest one was in 2024. Yeah. And you said that you might be recording more stuff coming up here.
Yeah, there's a couple that I've embarked on. There's a project with my good buddy Simon Kropp, who is like an incredible songwriter. I mean, like probably my favorite living songwriter out there right now. But he played pedal steel and a little bit of electric guitar, and we just did a totally live, the two of us in a studio in Minnesota as a trade for, we played a gig for their town, and they're like, well, we got a studio, so play the gig, we'll give you a couple days of recording. And we did, I think, 7 songs. We might put out like an EP or something,
okay,
probably this spring. And then Ben Johnson's studio in Mount Carroll, Illinois, we're doing me and an old pal of mine, Pete Sahlstrom, we're doing a bunch of old songs of mine, one of his, and a couple old like spirituals, and just trying to get real free and weird with it. And so we're working on that too.
So you're doing the recording, and then you're also playing quite a bit right now.
Doing a lot of gigs, yeah, for sure.
And where can people see you?
Mostly Midwest, Northwest Illinois, Wisconsin, Iowa, Minnesota is mostly where I'm at right now. Costs too much to travel much further, but yeah.
Well, there's a lot of gigs available in this area.
Yeah, I love playing the river towns, little rooms, good people. Just share it as much as I can.
So I've noticed that on your EPK or website, you have a lot of artists that you've supported along the way. Some big names like Arlo and some others. How'd that come about?
Usually it's just, if they're playing somewhere local, somebody reaches out to me, and I'm always into doing a show like that for sure. And some of it is just connections, friends I made through the years. I helped set up a show for them, bring them around here or
Right.
whatever, and they put me up for the opener.
So a couple things. Your voice super unique. Your vibrato, I don't even know what you call that, but the timbre and the vibrato together is really unique, along with how you musicianship with 3 different instruments at the same time. That's very unique for a listener to hear your music. The other thing that I wanted to bring up was your lyrics. Now, tell me about like your process for lyric writing. Is this kind of a poetic or a message or something that you're wanting to tell people or talk about?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think that's changed. I'm still trying to figure that out, man. And just, a lot of the early songs were just, stuff used to just come to me. I'd hear a first line of something and, boom, a song would happen or something. And it doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, once in a while, but I feel like, I was more, in a real like fighting spirit back in the day too. And now I'm trying to kind of curate more of more of a message, and just have it be, I feel like there's enough division in the world. And I had a guy the other night yelling, "You wanted me to do protest songs." And I was like, well, I got a few, and, I agree with, with that, but I also like, I feel like songs that can like reach all people of all, ideas and beliefs. And like, if we can all get together, it's like the dream of Martin Luther King Jr. or something, man.
Right.
Like we gotta get together and unite and not drive the wedge any deeper between everybody. So I'm trying to do that, I guess, more if I'm intentional about my lyrics, that's, I guess, the direction I'm trying to go. So.
Well, it's a wonderful thing about music is that we can all everyone can enjoy the music in a different way. They can interpret things differently. And you're bringing the show, you're bringing the stories. So today we're going to do 2 songs. Tell me titles and if there's any story behind them.
Okay. Well, we did, let's see, Hello Friends is, I kind of wrote that just as kind of with what I just talked about, is kind of like a song of unity. Just like, I usually start the show with that just because it's like everybody in the room, like, hello, friend, we're all friends here, like, and just get started on the right foot,
Mhm.
like, and so that's just kind of trying to be, let's all just be together and sing together, drink together, get to know our stories. If you get to know somebody well enough, you can have compassion for them, I
Right.
believe. So you get to know why they believe what they believe, which is more important than what they believe, I think. And so that's Hello Friends. And the other one, Lamplight and Time in the Valley, which is actually a traditional Appalachian tune that I learned from an old man that I met in the woods in West Virginia. I came by that song very honestly, and Roland McLennan. So yeah, he's kind of a American hero in my mind. So
Well, your performances are exciting and inspiring when you talk in between your songs. You talk about what's coming up, and maybe you have a little story about it, maybe you don't, but that is very authentic, I think, because it can kind of it can outline what's coming for an audience. So I enjoy that much. Is there anything else coming up in 2026 and beyond that you're looking forward to, that you want to do, that you want to aspire to do?
oh man, I just want to keep getting around and sharing music with people, and looking forward to putting out more records, which is always a process, but working on that. I don't know. Just keep at it, I guess,
Yeah.
keep grinding.
Well, very talented. I know you're a busy guy, and I appreciate you coming in. Thank you for the time, and I'm excited to hear you play these 2 songs. That's it.
Awesome. Thanks, Jason.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cut.
Cheers.